I watched 10 videos about self-love, took notes, and then fed those notes into ChatGPT and asked it to give me what it thought were the main takeaways and then one overall takeaway, and I'm going to share the results. Also, for each video, I'm going to give you a short summary as well as my personal favorite takeaway, and all the videos I'm referencing here will be linked in the description. First up is How to Love Yourself the Right Way by Psych2Go. In this video, they talk about how self-love is a journey of embracing your true self with kindness, compassion, and purposeful self-care, fostering positive self-views while understanding and validating your emotions. The highlight of this video for me was to learn your own love language and give it to yourself. So here are some examples. If none of these resonate with you, that's okay. The point is to discover what makes you feel loved and then provide that for yourself as best you can. And if you're not sure what makes you feel loved, then that might be a good opportunity to start paying attention to what does. So here are the traditional love languages. One is words of affirmation. So this could look like writing yourself encouraging notes or affirmations and placing them where you'll see them daily. You could also keep a journal to regularly acknowledge and celebrate your strengths and progress. Second is acts of service. This could look like doing something that makes life easier for your future self, like prepping meals for the week, organizing your space, or setting up a relaxed evening routine. Third is receiving gifts. This could look like treating yourself to something meaningful, whether it's a small gift like a favorite snack or a book or something special you've been wanting. The intention here is to show appreciation for yourself. Fourth is quality time. So dedicating time for activities that you genuinely enjoy, like maybe reading or taking a walk in nature or engaging in a creative hobby. Just focus on being fully present with yourself during that time. And last is physical touch. And this could look like creating a self-care routine involving physical comfort, like a warm bath, comforting skincare ritual, that's one of my favorites, or stretching exercises. You could also try self-massage or gentle stretching to relax and connect with your body. Number 2 is How to Love Yourself, 3 Steps to Overcoming Self-Hatred by Psych Hacks. In this video, they talk about the key to self-love involves committing to speak to yourself with kindness, like a supportive friend might, and embodying qualities you'd find lovable in others, and fostering self-compassion through realistic, consistent actions. The highlight of this video for me is the idea of cultivating qualities you find lovable in others and talking to yourself like a supportive friend would. This doesn't mean ignoring mistakes or fluffing up your own ego, and it also doesn't mean harshly criticizing yourself either. So to quote the video, resist the urge to assuage your pain with love food that may taste sweet, but that is ultimately not nutritious. In this context, love food refers to indulging in comforting but superficial reassurances that feel good temporarily but don't truly nourish or support our personal growth. So, for example, rather than brushing off a mistake with a generic, "It's fine, I'm perfect as I am," the video suggests speaking to yourself more genuinely, like a supportive coach, maybe saying something like, "Okay, you made a mistake, but you're learning and growing from it, and that's what matters." So this approach focuses on realistic encouragement that reinforces long-term self-worth instead of relying on sweet but ultimately hollow reassurances. Number 3 is How to Love Yourself When It Feels Hard to Do by Heidi Priebe. This video emphasizes the importance of practicing unconditional self-love. We can see a theme already developing here, and especially developing unconditional self-love during challenging times, as conditional acceptance leads to temporary and harmful outcomes. It encourages self-validation, grace, and understanding. And it likens self-love to consistent nourishment that supports personal growth and resilience. And the highlight of this video for me is when you make a mistake or you don't live up to your own expectations, that's when you need your own unconditional love the most. Think of unconditional love like nourishment. It's misguided to believe that depriving yourself of it when you need it most is going to motivate you to make improvements. It might temporarily, but it won't sustain you, and it will only hurt you in the long run. And I love the analogy that she gives in this video. She says to think of it like a diet. Unconditional love is like consistently giving yourself a highly nutritious diet to eat, and conditional acceptance is like giving yourself cocaine. It's a temporary hit, but long term, it leads down an undesirable path. Bullying yourself into achieving your goals is not the answer. Number 4 is How Can I Love Myself by Eckhart Tolle. In the video, he explores the idea that true freedom comes from transcending self-concepts completely, whether negative or positive, and by recognizing yourself as pure awareness beyond the mental construct of identity. He also emphasizes moving past self-hatred as an intermediate step toward simply being, free from the need for self-love or self-criticism. And the highlight of this video for me is that fixing or cultivating a more positive mind, more positive thinking, is a helpful step in the journey, and he does recognize that, but he says it's not the ultimate goal. It's a way to clear the soil before planting the seed. Number 5 is How I Learned to Love Myself by Improvement Pill. This video suggests that self-love can be cultivated by identifying traits you admire in others and then intentionally incorporating them into your own character. It also emphasizes improving your self-lovability by decreasing traits you dislike and then, of course, adopting positive ones. And the highlight of this video for me is that if you're not sure about who you'd prefer to be, it can be helpful to notice when you feel a sense of admiration for someone. It's like a little clue for yourself. Figure out what exactly you admire, and that tells you more about the qualities you want to cultivate within yourself. I've also heard it mentioned that admiration simply means you already have that quality within you. It's just a matter of releasing the internal resistant belief that prevents you from expressing it. And example of a resistant belief might look like this. So you might say, wow, I admire how creative and unconventional that person is, but if I express my creativity like that, here's the resistant thought, people will think I'm weird or won't take me seriously. Number 6, How to Love Yourself, 6 Steps to Discovering Self-Love by Marissa Peer. In this video, Marissa defines self-love as an unshakable belief in your own worth and encourages practices like speaking kindly to yourself, setting boundaries, and rejecting perfectionism. She also emphasizes letting go of past criticisms, embracing your uniqueness, and affirming your worth with empowering statements like, I am enough and I am lovable just the way I am. The highlight of this video for me is that if you find it hard to feel love towards yourself, try seeing yourself through the eyes of others who you feel love from. For example, grandparents, a guardian angel, or even animals. I think this is so incredibly helpful. And if that doesn't work, try stepping outside of yourself and seeing your physical self as this cute, sweet, innocent pet that you are caring for, who maybe sometimes pees on the carpet, aka makes mistakes. Number 7, people who say you just need to love yourself don't understand trauma by Crappy Childhood Fairy. The summary of this video is that self-love is not the solution, but a byproduct of healing and personal growth, which is achieved through effort, focus, and consistent action. It encourages embracing change, releasing self-protective layers, and taking positive steps to build the belief of your intrinsic worth and the ability to love and connect with others. And the highlight of this video for me is short and sweet, and it is that self-love is not the fix. It's the byproduct of the fix that's needed. 8, Learn to Love Yourself by Buddhism. This video emphasizes that self-love begins with embracing imperfections accepting mistakes as part of growth, and rejecting self-critical labels. It highlights the beauty of imperfection, encouraging kindness towards oneself and others as a foundation for personal evolution and connection. And I have two highlights from this video. The first one is that mistakes are the proof that we are trying in life and not giving up. Love that. And the second highlight is imperfection provides us the chance to evolve, to take the journey. 9, the most important thing to do when it comes to self-love by Teal Swan. In this video, she emphasizes that self-love involves embracing and integrating all aspects of yourself, especially those you've rejected due to past experiences or shame. Teal advocates for exalting these traits, which means finding their positive highest expression through self-compassion, understanding, and visualization practices to create alignment and design a life true to your authentic self. I have a lot of highlights from this video, so let's dive right in. First off is that self-love is pulling all parts of yourself towards you, and shame is the opposite. Next is trying to see your worth or positive attributes can actually be problematic, and here's why. It's difficult to convince yourself that your anger, let's say, is a positive aspect when you've believed it's not for so long. Also, we fear that including those rejected aspects will result in negative consequences. So let's take an example that she gives in the video. A young girl is broody and quiet and can't make friends. And so she learns to act like the other kids and becomes bubbly and talkative and acts happy. So she pushes her broody, quiet self away, except she didn't actually get rid of it, she just hid it. And so let's take the example of the exalted version of her broody, quiet self. So to be broody, what do you have to do? You have to be mindful. You're likely someone who likes to think deeply. Maybe you're able to identify problems easier. You probably have a sensitivity and a connectedness to the world. Let's take another couple examples. So let's say someone is a master at mental chess. The exalted version of this is using it to help others. For example, maybe becoming a psychologist. Let's take the example of being a bully. The exalted version of that would be to encourage or push or bully people to do their best. And so exalting is not about going to war with yourself. You want to find just the highest and best use of your negative traits, or what you think are your negative traits. And the last thing is a practice that she recommends doing, which is to describe yourself and be completely honest. What do you dislike about yourself? And then take that and think about how you can exalt those negative aspects. What is the positive exalted form? And last but not least, number 10, how to unconditionally love yourself by Philosophies for Life. This video explores self-love through the lens of Taoism, emphasizing living in harmony with your true nature by embracing your natural state, letting go of self-judgment, staying present, trusting the unfolding of life, and cultivating inner stillness. By aligning with the flow of the Tao, practicing mindfulness, and releasing societal pressures and expectations, you can experience greater self-acceptance, inner peace, and a deeper connection with yourself. And I also have quite a few highlights from this video as well. So first up, imagine being at a social gathering surrounded by accomplished, confident people. You can acknowledge their uniqueness without diminishing your own. If you're depressed, you're living in the past. If you're anxious, you're living in the future. If you're at peace, you're living in the present. This is a direct quote from the video. To a mind that is still, the whole universe surrenders. And lastly, imagine yourself in the midst of a bustling city. You can decide to seek inner stillness despite the noise. You can breathe deeply and shift your focus inward. You can become aware of the worries that might be passing through your mind without attaching to them, without going into the story. You can immerse yourself in the present through your senses. One of my favorite techniques to do this is the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique. So 5 things you see, 4 things you hear, 3 things you feel, 2 things you smell, and 1 thing you taste, which grosses me out because it's usually whatever I last ate or just the taste of what's in my mouth, which I don't know, for some reason that just grosses me out. So I tend to not do that one. Your mind becomes less cluttered and you experience harmony. Okay, so now the main takeaways according to ChatGPT. So after I watched all of these videos and took detailed notes, I fed those notes into ChatGPT and I said, give me the main takeaways. What are the common themes? So here we go. The first is understanding self-love. And it said, several videos highlight that true self-love is about nurturing an unshakable belief in your worth and embracing all parts of yourself, including imperfections. And self-love isn't just about occasional self-care rituals. It's a holistic acceptance that acknowledges both strengths and flaws without judgment. Second takeaway, self-talk and inner kindness. A common theme across these videos is the importance of self-compassionate language. Self-love means reframing negative self-talk and treating yourself with the same kindness you would offer a friend. And this includes replacing harsh self-criticism with encouraging, constructive affirmations. 3, accepting and exalting all parts of self. Videos emphasize the need to integrate all parts of yourself, including the traits we may have rejected or hid due to shame or criticism. And practicing self-love involves understanding these rejected parts, seeing their potential value, and cultivating compassion for them. 4th takeaway is unconditional love over conditional acceptance. Several of the videos argue that conditional acceptance, which is only being kind to yourself when meeting certain standards, undermines self-love. Unconditional love is described as consistent, like a healthy diet, while conditional acceptance is likened to a temporary and ultimately unfulfilling high. The 5th takeaway is healing and growing from trauma. So one video in particular emphasizes that self-love is sometimes a byproduct of healing from deeper issues, especially trauma, and addressing past hurts through focused, consistent effort, which can create an environment where self-love will naturally flourish. The 6th takeaway is presence and living in the moment. So being present and letting go of judgments, societal expectations, and labels is fundamental to self-love. Living authentically and trusting in life's flow helps build a strong connection to yourself, which fosters inner peace and self-acceptance. And the last takeaway is some practical practices. So this includes journaling, self-care routines, visualizations, mindfulness, reflecting on role models for inspiration, and then building habits that reflect love and respect for yourself, which creates a foundation for self-love to grow over time. And lastly, the number one takeaway, I said to ChatGPT, give me the number one thing that you think is the pattern that you see across these 10 videos. And here's what it said. The one perspective that stands out most prominently across these videos is the importance of unconditional self-acceptance and compassion, particularly when faced with challenges or perceived imperfections. This theme repeatedly emphasizes that self-love is not something to be earned or conditional on achieving standards. Instead, it is a steady, compassionate regard for oneself that embraces both strengths and flaws. So, the overarching message is that self-love isn't earned or achieved through self-improvement alone, but is rooted in accepting all parts of ourselves with kindness and compassion, even when it feels challenging. And this perspective is foundational as it underpins nearly every other self-love practice mentioned across the videos. And here's my takeaway after watching all of these videos. And it's a quote from Dr. K, whose YouTube channel is Healthy Gamer. And he says, "We focus on fixing the mind in Western medicine, and what they, yogis, are more interested in is getting rid of the whole thing. There's no right or wrong way. Everyone is at a different point in their journey. So take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And if you enjoyed this video, you might like my previous one where I actually take a more philosophical approach to self-love. I talk about how chasing self-love can actually keep you from realizing that you already are the love that you're seeking. It's about using self-love practices like the ones mentioned in this video, not to get something, not to earn self-love or cultivate self-love or achieve self-love, but to reconnect with what's already there. So if that perspective interests you, I'll link the video because it pairs perfectly with this one. This one's more practical, the other one's a little more philosophical and dives deeper into the mindset behind the practical steps that we talked about today. I hope you found this video helpful, and I will see you in the next one.